In the last lesson, we talked about how to position a movie using a trailer. We touched a bit on the need to distill the movie down to its basic premise and figure out what makes it unique compared to all the other films out there. In this lesson, we're going to take a deeper look at exactly how to tell this story, with suggestions and best practices for what to leave in and for what to leave out. As a general rule, the goal is to simplify, simplify, simplify. Tell the most digestible and simplified story possible, while leaving plenty of room for stylistic editing, set-piece moments, emotional builds, and satisfying montages. Let's start with what story bits to include in the trailer. Like we said in the positioning lesson, you'll want to clearly and succinctly tell your audience what the movie is essentially about. This is the main concept, or logline. Let your audience know the unique hook in this film. Is it the movie about the mouse chef that can cook French food? Is it the movie about the group of friends who has a crazy bachelor party in Las Vegas? Is it that movie we talked about where assassins can curve bullets? You get the point. If you can tell the story of a film using the character's own words, great. That's ideal. However, sometimes it's not actually possible to do that, or the way the lines are delivered is too complicated or long-winded. That's where you can use graphic cards and narration to do some of the heavy lifting and summarize key points of the film quickly and efficiently. We'll talk more about graphics and narration in a later lesson. Last, you'll obviously want to include main character introductions, using an impactful or interesting scene or two. Chronologically, this is almost always the very first thing that will need to happen in a trailer. If you've got an action movie, introduce your characters or your character by having them do something exciting and attention-grabbing that lets us know a little bit about who they are, what they do, and their personality. The sooner your audience cares a bit about your characters, the sooner they'll be on board for the ride and invested in the rest of the trailer, interested in what happens next. Failure to accomplish this early on runs the risk of the entire trailer falling flat. Even in cases of franchises and sequels like Fast 5, roughly the first 50 seconds of the trailer are spent introducing the characters played by Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, and Dwayne Johnson. And it's done while telling us a bit of story and entertaining us with a heist, a rooftop pursuit, and a car chase. Efficient and engaging, exactly what you want. Now for the longer list, what to leave out. First, ditch unimportant character names. Typically, those types of specific details don't matter. Using names of all the characters will only confuse people and leave them muddled with unimportant information. They should be focusing on the basic story, the unique takeaway, and the overall style, not the names of random characters. For example, if you were cutting a trailer for The Hobbit 3, feel free to introduce Bilbo, Gandalf, and Sauron by name. But you might give some thought to whether it's really worth the time to have somebody say, "Gloin, we've only got one chance at this," rather than, "We've only got one chance at this." It seems subtle, but it's something to keep in mind as you look to simplify things as much as possible. Second, don't have a character explain a story in 10 words if they can do it in 5. Two ways to help your characters tell the story more succinctly, if they don't naturally do so in the film, are 1. Cobble new lines. Use your dialogue breakdown to find fragments of lines that can be combined, or cobbled, to tell the story in the simplest way possible. And 2. You can record ADR, or loop lines, from actors and sound-alikes that say the exact lines that you need, and cheat them into the character's mouth with some editing trickery. We'll talk more about this later in the course. And the last thing to exclude from a trailer is the proverbial Pandora's box. Most people have heard the myth of Pandora's box, which, when opened, would unleash all the world's troubles. A dramatic example, I know. But this can happen in a trailer too. There are some story beats that will only end up raising new questions in the mind of the audience. Questions which are either confusing, uninteresting, or require too much time to explain. I'm going to leave this tip a bit vague, but just be aware that these lines exist and always consider whether a line or story point causes more trouble than it's worth. You never want to overcomplicate the trailer and confuse the viewer. So in this lesson, we learned how to simplify the story in a trailer to leave room for style, humor, action, and emotion. We talked about conveying the main concept of the film with its unique hook, and introducing the main characters early in an interesting and engaging way. We also discussed a few things to exclude from the story told in your trailer, including character names, unnecessarily long story explanations, and Pandora's box lines. Remember, the goal of a trailer is to only show the best moments, so be careful not to make it longer than it needs to be to excite your audience. Do not fall in love with every shot and scene in the film. Be ruthless with what to cut and leave out. You're going for a simple, digestible, and unique story that the viewer can walk away with and think, I know what this movie's about, and it looks good. Coming up in the next lesson, we'll look at how to arrange the structure of a trailer before you start cutting, so you can start piecing together the best moments of a film into a logical and constantly building presentation. Alright, I'll see you in a bit.